Welcome to BAM It with John, Michael, and Mari, covering all things business, accounting, marketing, management, and IT. The place where businesses and entrepreneurs find the forest through the trees.
Hello and welcome to BAM It. I'm John Michael Cletus and I'm with Mari Peterson of Marketing Outpost, and of course I'm with Peridot Consulting, and we are doing a Billism today, and we are joined again today with in our studio here with Bill Kelley. And Bill, what is our Billism of the day?
Our Billism of today is fact find, not fault find.
Say that again.
Fact find, not fault find.
Fact find, not fault, like a mistake. Fault.
Correct.
Okay.
And it starts out with focus on the end in mind. What you want to do is you want to solve the situation. Okay? You don't want to beat people up. You don't want to beat yourself up. So let's spend time on the facts. Focus on systems. 96% of the time when you got a problem, it's a system problem, not a people problem. Okay? I'm going to the grocery store and I'm going to stop. I'm going to buy groceries today. You know what? I forgot my grocery list. It's a system problem. You can beat yourself up all day about, I forgot my grocery list. Okay? It's a system problem. Think about maybe putting your grocery list on your cell phone. Okay? So you always have it with you. That's just an example of self. But let's bring this more into business. Let's bring this into your leadership role. Focus on the problem, not the people. Focus on the problem, not the people. So focus on solutions and first things first. First things first means my employee did not accomplish the task that I want him to accomplish. Were they clear on that task? I'm recalled back in the day, many years ago, when I first went into the military, and I've used this story so many times, and people come up to me later on in life and say, "Gosh, I love that soap in the bucket story that you told about in the military." So let me share that with you. I was in boot camp. I got elected to a squad leader. I was all full of myself because now I'm a squad leader. I'm in charge of people. And so I went back to the barracks and I had this young recruit, and I said to him, "Get yourself a bucket of water and a mop." And I said, "I want you to mop the floor. And when you get through with it, come and get me." Okay. So he got through mopping the floor. I came and inspected it, and I said, "You know what? It looks like you just took the mop and just dragged it to the floor. It's not even clean." I said, "Didn't you put soap in the bucket?" And he looked at me and he said, "You didn't tell me to." And I'm going, well, that's crazy. I started to berate him, and thank God my company commander was standing behind me, and he pulled me aside. He says, "Come here, I want to talk to you." He said, "Was your message clear? Did you tell him to put soap in the bucket?" I said, "Well, common sense." He said, "You know what? Let's stop with this common sense stuff. Common sense is not so common. Okay? You're a leader, and that person did exactly what you wanted that person to do. No questions, no nothing, respected your leadership. So you need to respect the people that you're in charge of and make sure that you are clear on your messaging. And when things don't go the way they should, then you fact find, don't fault find. You'll get there quicker.
Next time, tell them to put soap in the bucket, Bill.
Exactly. Soap in the bucket. So as I go through my leadership walk, I'm always very careful to make sure that whatever direction I'm giving my people, I make sure that they put soap in the bucket, if you will. But at the same time, if it doesn't go the way that the outcome is not the way that I wanted it, then I take a time out and I look at self. Okay, was I clear? Okay. One more example, if I may. I could never get my daughter to put the trash bag in the garbage can after she emptied the garbage. Okay, I don't care how many times I told her, it just didn't click with her. So that one day I came home and I said, "Okay, I'm going to fact find first and not fault find." Obviously, she doesn't understand what I'm telling her. So I said, come on out to the garage. Come out to the garage. I said, "Here's the trash can." "I know, Dad." I said, "Well, just humor me. Here's the trash can." Okay. I said, "It's empty. The trash people came." "All right, here's the trash bag. You pull it out and you shake it and you open it up." "Okay, got it." I said, "Then you put it in the trash can and then you put it all the way around the inside." And she's standing there and she's like humoring me. And I said, "Okay, I got it. I pulled the trash bag back out of the can. I said, "Okay, do it." "Dad, do it." She went through the process, okay? After she did it, I said, "Do you understand the process now?" "Yes, I do." "So if you don't do it, then you made a conscientious decision not to do it. Is that correct?" "Yeah, Dad." Never had another problem with putting the trash bag in the trash can. So what does that equate to in leadership? That equates to, let me tell you, let me show you, let's do it together, let me watch you do it. It's a 4-step process. And now you've got a contract with that person. Because at the end, you're saying to that person, do you understand the task that I asked you to do? Yes, I do. So if you decide that you don't want to do it, okay, then you make a conscientious decision that you are turning in your resignation to me.
Now, your daughter wouldn't have been able to resign.
No, she wouldn't. And I wouldn't have wanted her to.
There's other ramifications.
She could have said, Dad, I'm resigning.
Exactly. But again, it goes back into fact find, not fault find. You're going to get there quicker.
No, I think that's great. It reminds me of the, the Donald Rumsfeldism of you don't know what you don't know. And, with the soap in the bucket, for all we know, that guy was thinking you were testing him and saying, I got to do exactly what he says. He's my superior officer. In your mind, you're like, well, it takes common sense. You just don't know what you don't know. And assumption only goes so far. If you're a leader and you have directions and you're in charge, you got to be clear. If there's a miscommunication there or something's not going wrong, to your point, find the facts out before you start berating or finding the faults. So I think that's a great adage to move forward and a great Billism.
And from a business perspective and a marketing, I see that being more important today, especially where we have these generational differences. So especially today, we have the boomer generation working with so many millennials. And so I hear this disconnect all the time. But what's really going on is that the millennials really have not been shown how to do certain things. So for example, one of my friends was saying how her daughter was applying for college and they actually made you mail something. And she said, I don't understand how to address the envelope. And she's actually going to a very top rated school. And she said, how did I get this far with my daughter where I never showed her how to address an envelope and then have to tell her, you got to go to the post office and this is what you do. I think we take it for granted that certain people know certain things, like you said, common sense. Well, what was common sense to you and your generation is not necessarily common sense to somebody else of another generation because they just simply didn't grow up with it. So yes, now today with everybody being electronic, it just simply happened to be that her daughter never had to mail anything before. And then it was shocking that she had to teach her how to address the envelope and then how to take it to the post office to process it. So I think what you're saying is right. It wasn't the fault of the daughter. It was just, the fact is that she just didn't know how.
This is beautiful. I mean, you're so spot on. Of course, you're spot on. And, we don't think about the differences between the ages of the people that are leading the new employee, if you will. You remind me of a restaurateur, a good friend of mine many years ago, came to me with a challenge. And the challenge was, he said, these new employees I'm hiring, he said, they just don't get it. They don't understand. They don't understand the customer service side of restaurants, yada, yada, yada. And he's going on. And I said, you know what? Go back to your next meeting you have with your staff, and I want you to ask them 2 questions and come back and give me the results. The 2 questions are this. 1, how many of you, when you grew up, you sat and you had dinner as a family unit with the family? Okay. Number 2, how many, when you grew up, mom taught you how to set the table? Okay. He came back to me and he told me the answers. The answer were nobody could raise their hand. I said, so what you're doing is you've been in the restaurant business over 30 years. You were dealing with those employees that came that had that skill set, that mom taught them how to set the table, that they sat as a family environment. I said, now today, you go in a restaurant, everybody got their cell phone out. They're not even looking at each other. They're probably texting each other at the table, but they're not looking at each other, okay? So hence, these new employees that you're hiring are not coming with the skill set. So again, fact find, no fault find. It's your problem, not theirs.
And exactly, in that same exact situation, what was common to you is not common to them.
Right.
And so if he had thought about it thoroughly as you made him do, then he realized, okay, it was a matter of just showing them and demonstrating, and they did not have that. So I think that's very true today. Do you have anything to add, John Michael?
Yeah, I was going to add that when we were talking about the older generation and having assumptions, that it works in reverse as well. That there's, the old stereotypical example of the kids having to teach the parents how to run the VCR or how to run, there's things that are new that the new people have assumptions of that maybe an older generation, or not even generational, somebody that's been a part of a job or part of a team that is working these assumptions. Somebody comes in new and there's new ways to doing something, maybe a new college graduate. I know my son, when he learns math, it's totally different than the way I learned math. And there's just different perceptions and assumptions, not only from the more established generation or people in the job, but also the new people coming in, and there's no right or wrong. And it's something that the leaders, I think, need to be aware of, that if they come, and there might be a different perspective that they can share as well.
You are so, again, spot on, John Michael. And again, that goes into a whole different topic, I would suggest, which is called talent management. Is that when you're hiring an employee, find out what their talents are, find out what their passions are, so you can match them up correctly with the job description. And then again, if you can match somebody's talents up with a job, then it becomes a passion, and that employee is now just a happy camper because they're doing their passion, and by the way, they're getting paid for it. But to your point, I'll say one final thing as a leader, as a older leader, if you will, is that I work hard to keep myself relevant, and that's that's very important too, because in the fast changing world, relevance is so important if you're going to be able to communicate with the masses.
Yeah.
Well, that was excellent. So.
Okay. Well, again, if you guys need to contact Bill, it's bill@peridotconsultinginc.com. And we want to thank Bill for this Billism again today, and thank to the listeners for joining us today. Please be sure to review this episode, and for more information on who we are or what we do, please visit www.bammit.com. That's BAMM-IT.com.
The hosts and the guests of this podcast make no warranty, guarantee, or representation as to the accuracy or sufficiency of the information featured in this podcast. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. This podcast should not be considered professional advice and is for entertainment purposes. It is not guaranteed that you will find this as entertaining as the hosts find themselves.